Right, so now we move on to my favorite segment of these little hangouts, the Netflix pick of the week. What we do every week is we each pick a Netflix movie or TV show, specifically TV show because this is TV hangouts, that we recommend for you, the viewer, and whoever else we are on this TV hangout with. So I believe the last recommendation was Broadchurch by you, Emily. I have not seen that yet,
Yes.
but I implore everyone to check it out because it has David Tennant and Gillian Anderson, and you can never have too much of either of those people.
Indeed.
But for my Netflix pick of the weeks, it is, drumroll, The 100, because this is heck of a show. Like a heck of a show. I did not expect to become addicted, but I am. I was just looking for something to pass the time as I was finishing up some projects here and there. And it's a soapy, young adult type Hunger Games ripoff. Like, I guess the pitch meeting was that CW wanted specifically their own version of the Hunger Games.
Oh.
Yeah, like at a point they tried to adapt Battle Royale as a TV show a couple years ago. That I guess that never just took off. Yeah, that would not have been a good fit. But I guess something happened and the right pieces fell into place, and you got this really interesting mythology about space and Earth, or not space, just a space station on Earth above Earth's atmosphere, as harboring the last remnants of humanity. And they're, at the start of the series, they are running out of oxygen. And so what they do to criminals is that they put them on trial if they're found guilty or break any hardcore laws on the ship. I believe it's called the Ark. Yes. And they space them. They just shoot them out of air ducts because that saves more air for people, and you don't have to electrocute someone and clean it up on a space station. The space station kind of looks like generic, whatever, but something about this show kind of kept me watching because the first episode is not very good. A couple of the first episodes are kind of sloppy, but there's something about it that just drew me into it. And I think the ideas were so strong, and at least it's entertaining when it wasn't good, that I kept coming back to it. And I finished the first season in about 3 days. It's only 13 episodes the first season. I'm making my way through the second one. I'm buying them on iTunes because that's how much I like this show. So the base premise of the pilot, I'll just sugarcoat that a little bit so you at least understand what you're getting into, is that 100 young adults, because this is a young adult series, so you got to hit that demographic, are sent down to the Earth after they've been imprisoned because they broke minor crimes, minor laws on the Ark. And so they're saying they're sending them down to test whether or not the Earth is habitable, but in all of reality, they're sending them down there to die because they're thinking that no way, nuclear fallout, it's been only like 100 years, no way, this isn't going to work. We need extra air on here because we only have like a couple months left. And when the 100 get down there, Earth is habitable, and it's kind of exciting. Like, it opens up with Radioactive from Imagine Dragons. It's like, oh my god, the most CW shit. Like, oh my, wow. I actually rolled my eyes, but it was like, oh, it's kind of fun, whatever. I'll just tag along with it. And everyone is attractive in this show. Everyone. Yeah, like
curses.
Whew, yeah, I'm questioning things. No, but so they get down there, and naturally they find out they're not alone. And so the show, for the first season anyways, is mostly about survival for the 100 to survive down there. And they have no weapons. They have hormones and angry stuff.
Those are weapons, though.
Yes. And so, there's bumping uglies, and there's betrayal, and there's a handful of deaths. There's nothing Game of Thrones status or anything, but I found myself getting kind of attached to some characters, and then whoosh, yeah, and the deaths are not simple. They're all relatively brutal. No one goes out happily in this show. The deaths are all tragic in their own way. Whether or not it's effective is probably because, first season stumbles and whatnot. So by the end of the first season, I found myself like really pumped up about the direction the show was headed. Like, I was like, wow, there's so much left to explore in this new Earth. And it doesn't, doesn't feel quite on the par of like Hunger Games or something, or maybe even the Maze Runner, which I actually enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
But it's almost there. It actually starts tackling some heavy ideologies about who we are as a society. Yeah. When they come down to earth, they want to be better than the people who ruined it for everyone. Like they need to strive for a better humanity and not make the same mistakes. And I've always been a fan of that type of science fiction. That's why I like Star Trek so much, for instance.
Yeah.
And here it's like, you want them to hold on to these ideas so badly, but then everything works against them. The environment tests them. The other people test them.
Yeah.
And then as we're watching the adventures on the ground, we also flash back to the Ark and see the adult political ramifications for what's happening. And that's pretty intriguing on its own, too. I mean, some of the stuff here and there, it's a lot of narrow hallways, a lot of... CW doesn't have the biggest budget for their shows. Like, they give it all to The Flash. Like, The Flash looks great. I don't know what happened there. And, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's very entertaining. I am almost done with season 2, and I can't wait. I've lost many of my new favorite characters, and it's a really great time. I mean, are you familiar with the show in any capacity?
It's super funny that you should bring this up today, because so when I'm at work, oftentimes I'll be listening to a podcast or something. Sometimes it's music, but more frequently I've been doing podcasts and stuff. So I'm working on legal documents in the office. I look at my phone and I tweeted something about a TV show, and somebody was like, "Oh, have you seen The 100 before?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what that is." I mean, I'd heard of it, like, just in the name, really, but like, and then at the exact moment that I was reading that tweet, the podcast I was listening to was actually plugging The 100 because it was their sponsor. So I was like looking at my phone and listening to this. I'm like, "Ooh, what's going on here?"
So you've had a trifecta of The 100 recommendations.
I know. Whoa. And then this, I was just like, that's what my day was leading to. It all makes sense now. But, now that I know that the universe is not just complete and total chaos and there's meaning in life, maybe I might have to watch this.
Yes, you should. Everyone should. Because I know some people like to crap on young adult genre and stuff like that. And yeah, a lot of it's like not good. We all remember Twilight. We're not going to forget that anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I like that it gives female actresses plenty of opportunities to also kick ass just as much as the men do, I mean, a lot of times it's like they're just the damsel in distress or the romantic interest. Yeah. And it's like, please give them something more to do. And here, like, the majority of cast is women by the second season. Yeah. That's pretty cool. And there's even like, well, I won't spoil stuff. I won't spoil anymore. But yes, it is very good and maybe not great, but it's highly entertaining. Okay. It has hefty ideas, probably too hefty at times. I don't think they fall under the weight of themselves thematically. I just think it's the budgetary reasons. You can tell, like, oh, they're in this big environment. We'll just shoot different angles of it for the entire season. Like, tell that kind of stuff. But I'm willing to sacrifice believability for the world for the sake of thematically. So I combine with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, I'm always looking for good new post-apocalyptic fiction of some kind. I mean, generally, I've like within the past few years, I've really dodged like the young adult hype train. Pretty much every major blockbuster film from like Divergent to The Hunger Games, I totally flew under the radar because I was just like, I'm the kind of cynical person that typically would just kind of poop all over that stuff. And so I was like, how about I just not? And I enjoy the things that I enjoy and let you all enjoy the things that you enjoy. But at the same time, like, I think it's not fair to discredit an entire genre in like anything, I even had one time this conversation with a friend where I was just like, we were talking about music. and I was talking about how I hate country music, and they were kind of like taken aback by that, and they're like, you really shouldn't just like throw out the baby with the bathwater or like discount an entirety of anything. And ever since having that realization, I'm like, it might not hurt to like it's more just kind of finding those diamonds in the rough. But taking this recommendation from you, actually, I am more compelled to see something like this, because like for the most part, the people I know who watch like the Hunger Games, most of them are just kind of like, okay, we don't really share any mutual interests, and I just kind of sit in that. But like with you and I, where we're kind of like the Venn diagram is like this,
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel more like, okay, there's probably something that I could even find from this, and maybe approaching it more from like, this is an alternative post-apocalyptic story, and so that interests me a lot, actually. But
yeah, I want to keep talking about it, but I don't know what else to say because of spoilers and stuff. Like,
no, I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just say, around the middle of the first season, there start to be ethical questions of what do you do in the situation that I can't say anything, but it really gets you thinking, like, okay, this person royally fucked up.
Yeah.
But given the circumstances, we kind of need everyone, or we need them to do this.
Yeah.
And etc. And it's just like the ramifications are explored in such depth and believability in this world that I'm eating it up. I can't wait to finish it, and then I'm gonna be sad, and I'm gonna have to wait for season 3 like everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my recommendation. That is my Netflix pick of the week, and next week Emily will have one, and I can't wait to hear what it is. Hopefully I've seen it. If not, then Emily will just go on bothering about it like I did. But if I did, then we can get a cool discussion from it, and that's the cool thing about this thing. And any recommendations from any listeners or viewers, then please let us know your Netflix pick of the week. I'm trying to be more interactive nowadays too.